And we've been holding the line primarily because of that profit sharing with recyclables. We don't have to look at curb cart for the trash stream only. We can look at it for the recycling stream. So we can significantly increase diversion rates for recycling if we give them a larger container to put their material in. 18 gallons, which is that standard bin size, look at that compared to the 33-gallon bag, the curb carts. It's not very big. We push, it's a two-step. Get two cans, put your paper goods in one recycling bin, put your containers in another. The city has biweekly recycling. For most households, those two bins do not hold 2 weeks worth of recycling when separated like that. We already have a pretty expanded stream of recyclables we'll accept anyway, but it's really nice to have more space. So the magic formula seems to be for really big diversion rates and low contamination, which is a big concern of mine, and which is why in the past I have not been a proponent of single stream. But in the last year and a half, I've read some case studies that really knocked my socks off, and that magic formula I've got up there. For high diversion and low contamination, you want to single stream your collection and give them larger containers. And what do I mean by single stream? Single stream means no sorting. You put your fiber, you put your mayonnaise jars, your green bean tins, your cat food tins, and your plastic water bottles, they all go in one cart, no sorting. If we could go to single stream recycling, we would be looking at, in fact, increase into all the plastic. So no longer turning your plastic bottle over and looking in that tiny, tiny arrow. Is that a 1, is that a 2, or is that a 7? Because, when you're in doubt, you're supposed to throw it out. And we know we're missing a lot of recycling. We're missing a lot of plastics, and we are missing a lot of paper. Now, I understand why we don't get as much paper as I'd like, and I agree with that. Identity theft is a big issue. I think the data out there is 1 in every 6 folks will suffer from identity theft issues at some point in their life, so it's something to be wary of. I have a shredder next to my paper recycling bin, and I shred my paper, but I also put it in my recycling bins and do the salsa on top of it. Not probably the safest thing to do. Still can't hold a lot. If you can single stream your recycling, even with shredded paper, when you throw the mayonnaise jar, the green bean tin, the pieces of plastic on top of it, it helps compact, and you've got more space to compact into too. One of the other things that we found is that, and we hear this a lot in Saginaw Township, they have a lot of paper contamination in their neighborhoods on collection day because that paper blows out of the bin. Even when they try to put their container bin on top of the paper bin, it does blow out. Lidded cart, lid stays closed until it's empty, gets emptied in at a 180-degree angle, gets put down. You really, really cut down on that. Once again, any kind of cart for any waste stream we'd be looking at would be repair, replace, and lease. So I jumped ahead a bit here. Want to get to some examples of what we're talking about in diversion. Like I said, we've got some neighbors who use curb cart for trash and or trash and recycling. And we surveyed 8 different communities across the state who have curb cart for trash at least, and asked them, what are the issues you run into? What are residents' complaints? There aren't any. Once they get it, they love it. They don't want to give it up. I came from the far north Chicago suburbs a while back. I had a curb cart, loved it. In fact, it was too big. I got a smaller one because I had to go lay it down and go in there with a rake to get my little bag of trash out to add something to it. So, and with diversion, hopefully we can use smaller carts at some point. We have a authority sister downstate, somewhat like us. They moved to single stream recycling in 2 of their communities last year with 65-gallon carts. In 2 months, they had increased diversion by 40%. I saw the director of that authority at the state recycling conference in May in Bay City. One town was at 61%, and one town now had 100% more diversion from the trash stream to the recycling stream than they had before they went to single stream curb cart. My hometown of Alton, Illinois, which is quite like the city of Saginaw, right across the river from St. Louis, Missouri, they went to single stream recycling with a curb cart in 2012, and they doubled their rate that they had in 2011. So what are the next steps that we're looking at? Like I said, tonight is purely informational. We have 35 members, so it takes me a while to get around to all of them to talk about what we might be looking at. Some are more or less familiar with the program. So where's our timeline for this? Over the next couple months, I have some more of these scheduled, these presentations with various members, trying to make sure that they're really know what we're talking about when we talk about curb cart, and that it's a possibility for both the trash stream and the recycling stream. The things that we still are going to need to determine are what type of method we're going to use. We're going to stick with just manual collection like we have now for all of our trash streams. Or are we going to go, no, we're just going to curb cart everything? Or are we going to do a mix of curb cart and manual? And I definitely think my membership is moving toward that mix. By having a mix of options, we also allow more customization to take into account some of those really diverse characteristics. So if we do curb cart, what are the streams? Trash, recycling, both of them. And then again, if we curb cart, these are the three main sizes that are available. Is there one size that fits all? And what I'm kind of hearing from my members too is, no, not so much. You know, Frankenmuth really likes this small one. The generation rate that we have from a lot of members means that a lot of them could probably live with trash in this one. There might be some communities, Maple Grove, I didn't mention any town, who really create a lot of trash who probably want something big. So we're probably looking at getting some pricing on all of that for both the trash stream and the waste stream, so that there can be more picking and choosing from the menu of services than we have now. Something that we worked with the city when we worked with them to create a public information program and bring back recycling was color of bin. I said, boy, we want it bright because we want neighbors to know when someone's put out a recycling bin. Because if you think competition doesn't work within a community, it does. You know, Joe might say, hey, Bob, I didn't see your orange recycling bin out last week, and that was recycling week. Aren't you recycling? Or the kids that we teach in school about recycling say, Mom, we can recycle that. Why are you putting that in the trash? Where's our orange recycling bin? So I'll use guilt, I'll use competition, whatever I can. What we're looking at for the next round is probably across all our memberships having some neutral colors, all the trash carts being one color, all the recycling being the same, so residents were pretty clear what they had to do. Also really want to look at single stream recycling. Went down and toured 3 single stream plants that Reed Community, who operates the recycling plant that we use here in Saginaw. I looked at that. It was the same technology, but they had managed to put it together in a totally different way so that there were now double and triple redundancy, so they were really able to sort materials out and have very few contaminants, which used to be the big argument against single stream recycling, was that you got more, but you got a lot more trash in there. And I don't want to tell my residents, you can curbside recycle and know that I'm sending 15% of what they put in a recycling bin to a trash landfill. So I really liked that, was very, very impressed with that. Would really like to be able to add all the plastics and no sorting. When you just have to go, okay, it's a recyclable. I know it's from this list that's either, you know, on a sticker on the front of my cart or it's on that loop guide that we send out every year, and I can throw them all in one place. There's just going to be an ease to the program that's going to increase recycling, not only by those who already recycle, but by those who don't currently recycle, because we're going to make it so easy. You don't have to sort, and if we go with carts for recyclables, we're going to get that delivered to everybody's house. Can't say, oh, I don't know how to do it and I don't have a bin, when it's mailed to them and the cart's delivered to them. So the 2 biggest barriers to recycling are addressed right there by that. What we're hoping to is get me around to the rest of the members who want to talk about this with their boards and councils, and at the MMWA October meeting, come in with a recommendation of how we should look at collection methodologies and how we should ask for pricing and go out there and issue an RFP for this. Remember, once again, that our current contracts run through the end of 2014. We're looking, hopefully, to award a contract early in 2014, and there are a number of reasons for doing it that early. One of them is we might be looking anywhere between 50 and 150,000 carts that need to be manufactured and delivered. That's going to take some time. There's going to have to be retrofitting of trucks to have the tipper arms put on them. They're going to get rid of the dual stream recycling trucks if we don't do dual stream anymore, so they're going to have to replace part of the fleet to bring those in and retrofit. And we're going to have to develop one heck of a public education campaign to let residents know what's a coming and how do you participate in that and get that out to folks. So that's what we're looking at in a nutshell. I did it in half an hour like I said I would, and I'm open to questions.
I guess this question is really to the city manager. Is this what we pay our $165 a year for when it comes to trash collection? That's part of it.
A portion thereof.
Okay. Secondly, I'm assuming that you're going to just deliver these with no cost to the residents.
The lease cost is part of that monthly per household charge for trash and or recyclables collection. So it'll be structured just the way we do now with our members.
Okay. And lastly, who is your competition?
Who is our competition? Well, we're a government entity and we work for our members, so we don't have competition. We use the private sector to provide the services we need, and there's a lot of competition out there in the private sector. In this area, we've got the two largest solid waste companies on the planet, Waste Management and Republic.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for the information. I've been in a couple of communities lately, including my daughter's, who lives in a small community outside of Grand Rapids. And I noticed that they use the 95-gallon. I haven't seen the smaller ones, but they use that for not only for the solid waste, garbage,
The recyclables,
but
right?
they use it for the recyclables as well. They have, I think, 2 of these for the waste, and then another one, a third one for the recyclable, and they're just labeled. They're all the same color, but they're labeled. I think it's pretty amazing because they don't have the issue that we have around here with seagulls and crows ripping apart these plastic bags and getting this trash all over the place. You talk about unsightly. I really do. It'd be great if we can go to this. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman O'Neill?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Monica, you are excellent at what you do. You know that?
I love trash. Not sure why, but I do.
You are a great presenter. And I've been around since '03, and you've been doing this for a minute. And
I started when I was 10.
Your enthusiasm has not waned. So great job. But
Thank you.
I concur with my colleague in terms of the value of having those containers throughout the city. I think it would add significant in terms of our ability to recycle, as well as control some unsightly seen trash in various locations. So great job, and I think our money's well spent and well represented. So
Thank you.
good job. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Wendt?
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for reminding me my trash is due tomorrow, so I'm going to have to make sure I get that out. But the most important thing in this is, if there is a price increase, when will we be able to tell our citizens in a timely manner for them so that,
Right.
not are we just educating on what we're changing to, but if there is an increase, when will we be able to tell our
I'm
citizens?
hoping that in February, by the latest March of next year, we'll have gotten the pricing in. Members will be able to look at it and say, okay, I think this is good. Because when we go out for pricing, it's going to be, I'm sure, for both the trash and the recycling stream, 3 different curb cart, but also with different MMWA participation levels. So the more members and the more house count that go in, the lower the price is. So there's going to have to be some conversations, again, within MMWA with membership in a meeting going, okay, I really like this, and I really like what the price is if we come in with 70%.
Right.
No one's telling me for sure, but I'm having a lot of really positive feedback from members on the idea of curb cart. But of course, it comes down to price. It can be a great thing to do. It can answer some of our problems, might help hold down the cost, but if it costs a whole lot more, but I'm not seeing that. I also just saw a study that Waste News 360 did. They're the premier trade rag in the solid waste arena, and they surveyed communities who were redoing their residential refuse contracts, and they went to private companies who did that, and they found that 46% of the contracts that were put together at the end of 2012 and early 2013, 46% of them were less than the contract they were leaving behind. So we're looking at a level of competition in the arena that we haven't seen in the last 4 years, so we're really coming at this at a good time.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have a question?
Just a comment, this is going to create a little controversy in my neighborhood, because my neighbor who's lived there for 2 years just got rid of the two 95-gallon ones that she was not able to use, and now I'm going to have to go back to her and tell her, you're going to have to get
She's got
two
18
more."
months left, though.
We could not
We can
use
try to
those.
wear them out in that time.
Bright yellow, by the way, very yellow, very.
You can tell when her trash is out.
Oh, yes, you can. I don't know.
Councilman Clark?
The single stream recycling seems to be by far the better way to go, and certainly, I think that would be one of the biggest factors in increasing the use of the recycling.
Absolutely.
And am I hearing correct that, from what you're telling me, the paper, the glass, the plastic, all would go in together?
Right. That's what single stream means. It's
Yep.
just all one stream.
I really think that if you just do that, it will, aside from, the sizes, I think that would be a tremendous improvement in the recycling and reduction in the use of the landfill.
Right.
I think it'd be tremendous.
Absolutely. Everything we divert out of the trash stream into the recycling stream helps keep that landfill viable for a little longer. There's a lot of life left in the landfill here in Saginaw County, probably 30 years, they say, but they're so expensive to redo. Let's just milk as much time as we can out of that so that we're all retired before we have to look at building a new landfill.
Councilman Cloris?
Monica, do you estimate that maybe in February, you'll be suggesting there'll be an increase in the cost to the community?
No, the decision on what we want to pick as our solid waste menu starting in 2015. So nothing that we're looking at would go into effect till 2015. I'm doing informational meetings so that members know what we want to go out and get pricing on.
Well, you're going through quite an expense
Of,
of initiating this change of containers. And
not necessarily so, we don't know where it's going to break out. Like I said, in our current contract, half of our zones with 70% of our population, if they had gone with curb cart for trash, which is the only semi-automated option we have right now, it would have been cheaper. It would have been cheaper in the city by 10 cents per house count to use this instead of 33-gallon cans or bags for trash right now.
so you don't really anticipate an increase to the community when the next contract comes up?
To start off with, I hope not. I think that pricing precedent and the survey results showing that recently negotiated contracts, almost half of them are less than the outgoing contract, really stand in our favor. And I've been very transparent with the big vendors out there. Waste Management Republic just met with them the other day, said if you are looking at big pricing, don't submit a bid.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay.